Hi, I'm Andy Grefstead with Tormach. This is part 2 of our vise series. In this part, we're going to compare the two vices available from Tormach. On the right, I have our traditional machinist vise, and on the left is our newer CNC style vise. In part 1, we talked about the features that make up a quality lockdown style vise. Both of these are quality lockdown style vices. However, there are a few key differences that I'd like to point out. So we'll start over here with our traditional machinist vise. This vise is a really nice vise. It's made in the USA, as I mentioned, and there's just a couple of features that really make this a nice vise. One is the nice powder coating here on all the surfaces that aren't ground. I also like the handle. It's quite nice too. It's a really nice looking piece. It really fits in your hand well. The traditional vise also has this flange style mounting for mounting to the table with just bolts and T-nuts. That's common, as you'll see, in a lot of manual machines. However, with CNC you'll often see a little different style vise. Our 5-inch machinist vise comes with a report which shows factory measured values for parallelism and flatness of the jaws. The handle on this vise is really nice. Both of our 5-inch vices have a thrust bearing incorporated at the screw underneath here that really make these vices turn easily. This vise has a lot of things that you'd expect to see in a high quality lockdown vise. It's got a thrust bearing that allows the screw to rotate freely. The screw is protected here with a metal plate to prevent swarf and machining grit from getting at it. And the screw is retained here rather nicely with a snap ring arrangement. It's really a high quality, nicely built item. Let's look underneath this vise. You can see a really nicely finished bottom surface. It's also got some slots here for optional vise keys. So here's one of them. You can fit it here and here, or probably more commonly here in these two locations here. Really just a nicely made vise. This is the CNC vise. Instead of the flange, it has a machine slot here which fits some hold down clamps. The big advantage of that is it gives you a little more versatility on mounting this vise. You can mount a vise traditionally like this, but you can also, because the flange isn't in the way, potentially mount this vise on its side like this, and that situation may present itself once in a while when you're machining something tall and slender. Both vices are ground to 1 thou tolerance on the precision surfaces. The difference in price between our traditional USA-made machinist's vise and the CNC vise that's made overseas is a couple $100s, and most of that can be explained away in fit and finish. With the USA-made vise, you get a really nice machined handle and a really nice powder-coated surface here. With the CNC vise, you get an as-cast and painted handle. When you look at these two handles, you can really see a nicely made machine handle. This is an as-cast and painted handle. It's little things like that that really make up the difference between the two vices. You can see that this vise spins smoothly too. There's no binding whatsoever here. Yeah, it really moves nicely. It's really easy to actually move this jaw back and forth, in contrast with that previous vise we saw that had an actual really prominent binding point. The painting on the vise is also not as to the quality as the traditional vise. Well, the traditional machinist vise has a really nice powder coat. The powder coat on this vise isn't quite done to the same level. Let's flip this guy over and take a look at the bottom here. And what you can see is it's got machine slots for vise keys here, and actually 2 slots here. You choose which slots you want to use depending on where you want the vise to sit. One works really well for the PCNC 770. The other works really well for the PCNC 1100. This vise has also got 6 tapped holes, 4 at the corners and 2 in the middle. That's so you can fasten it to a subplate or trunnion. Both of the vices are drilled and tapped for an optional work stop accessory here and here. Here's what that looks like. The traditional machinist's vise fits really nicely on the 1100 and is just held down to the T-slots by bolts on the flanges here. The CNC style vise, on the other hand, uses some clamps that grab onto the slots machined in the side to hold it down. You can also mount two CNC vices together. As you can see from this setup here on the Tormach PCNC 1100, there's room for 3 5-inch CNC vices on the table. On the PCNC 770, the traditional machinist vise hangs just a little bit too far off over the back. So that about does it for part 2 of our 3-part vise series. Let's take one last look at the vices again. On the right here is our traditional machinist vise. It's a 5-inch design. We've got the optional work stop attached here. And on the left is our brand new CNC style machining vise. In part 3, we're going to look at a couple different jaw accessories that will work with either one of these vices and actually most 5-inch standard vices. I'm Andy Grefstedt for Tormach, and thanks for watching.